If your renders are turning out really dark, I might have the solution for you, and that solution is bounce lights. What I want to explain for everybody is that Blender is an imperfect program. Like all 3D programs, it uses physical properties of light, but it has to simplify in certain areas. One place that it simplifies is actually in the bounces. If we go to the render settings, you can see light paths and then total max bounces. You can set this to full global illumination, which in theory should make the light bounce around even more in the scene. But even when you set this, it is actually not that bright still. I'm going to set it back to default because this is what most people have. A pretty good example of how light bounces is actually my kitchen, where this kitchen right now has 0 lights on. The only reason that it's this bright is because this giant skylight that I have here is bouncing off of the ground into the walls, and it's illuminating everything in here. This is kind of akin to the same thing that we're doing right here, where rooms aren't this dark. If there is a beam of light that is from the sun that is inside of this scene, it's going to be very, very bright. So we're taking a look at this scene and we realize it's too dark. What are we going to do? I think the first thing that I want to try out is bouncing some of this light back into the scene from this very large specular reflection right here. This is going to be the sunlight that's literally bouncing off of the ground and then hitting everything else in the scene. If you take a look at this video that I took with my flashlight, you can see that I'm shining the flashlight beam on the ground and then it's reflecting off the walls. This is essentially what we are doing, and we're really going to be doing that with every object. It's just a little bit easy to understand when I use an actual flashlight. So this is the first light. As you can see, it brightens up the scene a significant amount. I am now going to add the bounce light from the couch. And you might ask yourself, well, there's no light. Like, why would you add a light to a couch? The reason we're doing this is because it's not really about the couch emitting light like a light bulb would. It's actually emitting light because the light from the sun is bouncing off of the couch and scattering into the rest of the room. I have 3 couch lights. That is a lot, but the first couch light is just, if we zoom in, the light from the sun bouncing off into the rest of the room. It's not actually affecting the light of the couch, which is interesting. It's only affecting what's around the couch. This other bounce light right here, right up here, and this bounce light right here is affecting the couch, but you can think about these lights as being actually more bounce lights from the ceiling. So this light is trying to accentuate the light from the ceiling onto the couch. I called it a bounce light and I put it within the couch category right here, but it is not actually, it's not actually like the couch being lit up right there. But you can see the tremendous difference that light makes as well. I'm turning off these individual lights because my teacher, when I was first learning this, told me that every light should work individually within the scene. So one light should look good by itself. It might not do everything you need it to, but right now this bounce sunlight is doing exactly what I want, which is brightening up the ceiling and giving an interesting look to the bottom of the couch, giving like this gradient right here, adding a little bit more of like a light fall off, especially to the ground over here. Like there's basically you can actually see some detail here, whereas if I turn off this sun bounce light, there's like nothing there. So these two together make up a core of this area. Okay, next, we're going to turn these both off and then look at the bounce blue sky. This blue sky that is above here, really, really bright. As you can see, if this couch was outdoors, it would be very, very bright. But we're not, we're indoors. This blue sky is bouncing from here to the ground, and then this ground is hitting the ceiling. You can see a little bit of that up here, but we're going to do a little bit more with that once we get into the walls, the wall bounce lights. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. You can already see some of the light, the blue light on the ground. I just want to accentuate that. Next, what we're going to do, like the lights I was just talking about, were the bounce lights for the walls. This is coming from the camera, this first one. You can't see it, but this is the region. This is just putting in as much light to the scene as you would get from bouncing off that wall. So you can think the skylight bounces off the floor onto this white wall and then flashes into the scene. You could also put this light on this back wall. If you were showing a lot of the scene, I would probably recommend doing something like this. But for me, all I have to do is show it from the camera. You can see it's kind of doing the same thing. You're maybe getting a little bit more brightness on this wall, which could be to your desired effect. The next bounce light is going to be this wall. This is going to be a little stylized. I want to emphasize this couch, so it's not really shooting all of the light into every corner of this room. However, you are very welcome to do that. And it might even be a little bit more realistic if you had a light here and a light here. So you're really brightening up this area. But for now, I'm just going to leave it on the couch. These two lights together looks like this. Lastly, this is a small detail, but it could actually really help the believability of your scene. This is going to be the grass, and the grass is also reflecting light. It's reflecting a green light. So the sun and the sky bounces off the grass and into the scene, adding a little bit of green. You also get a little bit of green here. If you have a white wall, white walls are really good at picking up other colors from lights. And so if this was a black wall, like so, you're not really seeing much of these bounce. You're seeing a little bit here, which is still a very important detail, but in reality, you're not going to see the green that's emanating from this green patch. Lastly, we have the painting light. This painting light is another stylistic choice. I did this because I wanted to draw attention to it, and my thought process was if there was a light hitting this painting, it would also be scattering light onto the ceiling, and this would be brightened up, just with my understanding of light. So turning all of these back on, we have the sunlight, we have the couches, the blue sky, the back wall light, the right wall, the green grass, and the painting. I'm going to add the coffee table back just to fill out the scene, and there you have it. That's about all I have for today. If you want this scene file, I have it in my Discord channel. This Discord is a fun place where we come together and we critique each other's work, and I share tips and tricks like this. This actually came from one of the people in my Discord. Piper was making a scene and was having the same issue, but they had theirs for an outside scene. So if you want to see an example of that, give me a like and a follow and maybe even a comment. That would be really appreciated, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you.